Keeping the Dream Alive by Eliza M. Source from Scholastic magazine. This is Yolanda Renee King. She is the granddaughter of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Yolanda Renee King never met her grandfather, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but the fifth grader is one of the countless activists inspired by his action. Dr. King helped change the course of history by spreading a message of equality for all people, regardless of their race or color. To many people, Yolanda's grandfather is the face of the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s. Back then, segregation was a way of life in many parts of the U.S., especially in the South. That meant Black people were not allowed to attend the same schools, get treated in the same hospitals, or even use the same drinking fountains as white people. Also, laws in some states kept many Black people from voting, and a lot of businesses refused to hire Black workers. Dr. King organized peaceful protests to demand equal rights for African Americans and to try to end unjust laws. His powerful speeches inspired many others to join the cause. Sadly, Dr. King was shot and killed in 1968. Scholastic News senior editor Karen Kelleher recently visited Yolanda at her home in Georgia. They talked about her influential grandfather and how Yolanda is trying to change the world in her own way.
When did you realize what your grandfather meant to so many people?
I knew he was famous from the time I was little, but I didn't really think about how important he was to the world. I just thought of him as my grandpa. Now that I'm older, I understand more. I hear about his marches he planned, and I think, wow!
Why was the work he did so important?
Back then, there was a lot of things that African Americans weren't allowed to do. They were not even allowed to live in the neighborhood where I live now. Sometimes my friend and I talk about it. She's white and I'm Black. If we were to travel back to the 1960s, we wouldn't be able to be friends.
Are you following in your grandfather's footsteps?
In some ways, I am. I'm also making my own footsteps. I'm starting to give speeches at marches and other events. I spoke at the March of Our Lives in Washington, D.C. about stopping gun violence. That's an issue I care a lot about. I also want to help the homeless and protect the environment. When I give speeches, I always end with a special chant. I ask people to repeat the words after me. It goes like this. Spread the word. Have you heard? All across the nation, we are going to be a great generation.
What advice do you have for other kids who care about important issues?
A lot of people say, kids, you don't need to worry about this stuff yet. But I think kids can definitely make a difference. They can share their dreams with the world and help make their dreams happen. I don't like when people say, that's just how things are. It's a way of saying that nothing can be done to fix a problem. There's always something you can do. Hello everyone, I'm Ulysses. I learned that Dr. King was a brave and peaceful hero that never gave up. If he was still alive, he would tell us to not give up on your dream, because anything is possible. Thank you for listening and watching. Thank you very much.